So during Wano, we've had some fantastic fights with Sanji and Zoro, and most notably the very conclusion of Luffy versus Kaido with chapter 1050. But there's been something that's been really in the back of my mind throughout the entire ordeal, and that's what is happening with Zoro. As always, be sure to go and like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date for all the latest One Piece theories, discussions, and reviews. So after the fight with Zoro versus King in chapter 1038, we saw that there was some sort of Grim Reaper that went and approached Zoro, and we also know that Zoro's swords have a demon spirit curse within them that has a terrible, terrible death to any of its wielders. So when you have something like a Grim Reaper approaching Zoro, it has a bunch of red flags, and especially now that we're in chapter 1051 and we have not heard from Zoro one bit. In the most recent chapter 1050, you have Chopper saying that Zoro hasn't been able to open his eyes. So it is very concerning, and I do think that this is going to be potentially the next major conflict that we're going to be having in the Wano arc, to where you're going to have Zoro finally awaken, and the consequences of what's going to happen next are going to be pretty severe. And I do think this would most likely open the door to the Sanji versus Zoro fight that we have been waiting so very long for. In the fights with Sanji and Zoro, they had the mutual agreement to where Sanji said, look, if I go out of control, cut me down. This hasn't happened yet, so it's very, very odd to go and establish that this is going to happen and not have this payoff. If Zoro goes and awakens with this devil spirit Enma within him, going into a full-on rampage, then this is going to have the payoff of where Sanji and Zoro can fight, and that Sanji can be the one to go and take down Zoro instead. Now, I totally understand, and especially as a Zoro fan, that Sanji overpowering Zoro in some capacity is going to be a bit too much for people. I totally get that, especially looking at the most recent episodes. Like, they have been painting Zoro to be an absolute monster, and he is, but like, absolutely insane. And it honestly makes me so happy. I love Zoro so much. But to have this sort of payoff, you would need to have Sanji be the one to go and take down Zoro, because they had that mutual agreement in the first place. But the fact that Zoro has had this encounter with this Grim Reaper in chapter 1038 and we haven't heard a thing, and it's going up to 1051, is quite concerning. And I do believe that when he wakes up, there is going to be a huge event that's going to happen, because you don't do something like this having something as significant as a Grim Reaper, which we know that Zoro has demon spirits within his swords, have him not show up or talk for like over almost 20 chapters, and then have no sort of direct explanation or direct event that happens after the fact. That's just not a thing that happens. There has to be a conclusion to this story beat. It also makes a little sense too that this massive event would happen, because Zoro has been relying a lot on Enma's power throughout this entire fight. So to have something as significant as Enma's power be used and have no sort of direct consequence makes no sense. Especially when you have someone like Luffy who uses his gears, and then you have a direct consequence of him getting drained, losing his power, and also Luffy losing his life force, which has been said about his gears 2 and 3. So this needs to really happen. It makes a lot of sense if it does happen. If it doesn't, I think it's a missed opportunity. And also when it does happen, it's going to be something amazing. Like, I absolutely love moments where characters lose control and they just go ballistic. What are your thoughts on the Grim Reaper approaching Zoro in this way? What do you think is going to happen directly because of this? Let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you all have an awesome day. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next one.